Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a cliff, the wind tugging at your hair, your heart pounding, staring down at a future that's as thrilling as it is uncertain. The thrill is undeniable. You're stepping into a new life with someone who fills your heart in a way you never thought possible. But you can't help but feel that whisper of fear. After all, you're marrying the person who was once your secret. Hi, I'm Liam, and I'm here to tell you a story about a choice, a leap, and the consequences that no one really talks about. And maybe, by the end, I'll leave you with a question or two of your own. Let me take you back to how it all started. I was in my early 30s, married to someone who was as wonderful as they were kind. She was a good partner. We had a home, a routine, and from the outside, we looked like the perfect picture of stability. But inside, I felt numb. Like I was moving through my days on autopilot, lost in a quiet dissatisfaction that I didn't know how to articulate. And then, one day at work, I met her. Isn't it funny how some connections just hit you like a lightning bolt? Have you ever met someone who, from the first moment, makes you feel like you've known them forever? This was one of those. She was vibrant, spontaneous, and utterly fascinating. I felt alive around her in a way I hadn't felt in years. Our conversations went deep, our laughter came easily, and soon our boundaries began to blur. Before I knew it, we were swept up in an affair that felt like a force of nature, intense, exhilarating, and dangerous. For months, we lived in that whirlwind of secrecy, navigating around the thrill and guilt, each moment of passion weighed down by a hidden sadness. And then came the day of reckoning. My wife found out. The look on her face, I'll never forget it. She looked broken, but also as if she'd been waiting for this truth to surface, like she'd sensed my heart had drifted long ago. After the dust settled, I faced a choice. And I made the decision to stay with the woman who'd made me feel alive again, the woman who I felt I was destined to be with. We got married not long after my divorce was finalized, hoping that our connection would survive now that it was out in the open. But here's where things got complicated. You see, the excitement of an affair doesn't always translate into the stability of marriage. When you're hiding, every moment together is amplified, every stolen glance, every touch becomes precious. But once it's out in the light, those shadows that made it thrilling disappear. We suddenly had to face each other as we were, without the thrill of secrecy, and that changed everything. Have you ever noticed how, when the stakes shift, so do the feelings? Like a prized possession that loses its shine once it's yours? Why do you think that is? In the beginning, it was wonderful. We had passionate arguments and intense conversations. But over time, the same intensity that once brought us together started to wear us down. The little flaws that I'd never noticed in the whirlwind of our affair were now right in front of me. The habits that once seemed quirky felt annoying, and the passionate disagreements began to feel exhausting. One night, we had an argument about something trivial. I can't even remember what it was. She turned to me and asked, "Do you ever wonder what it would have been like if we'd never crossed that line? If we just stayed friends?" Her words hit me hard. I realized she too was feeling the weight of what we'd given up for this relationship. Turns out, there's a very human tendency to idealize what you can't have. And we'd both done that. We'd fallen in love with the idea of each other more than the reality. And now that reality was setting in. It was still love, but a love tempered with the knowledge of what it had cost, not just to ourselves, but to others. And here's the truth no one tells you. Marrying your affair partner doesn't solve the issues that led you there in the first place. It's like bringing the storms of your past into the quiet of your future, where the lightning still strikes. But now, there's no thrill, just tension. If you're listening to this, you might be wondering, was it worth it? Would I do it all over again? I wish I had a clear answer for you, but the reality is life is messy. We make choices, sometimes selfish ones, hoping they lead us somewhere better. But as I sit here, sharing this story with you, I hope you'll remember that love isn't always about intensity. Sometimes it's about patience. It's about the quiet, steadfast connections that don't always set your heart racing, but fill your soul in a way that lasts. So here's my question for you. If you found yourself at the edge of a cliff, staring down a choice between excitement and stability, between passion and peace, which path would you take? And more importantly, why? Thanks for tuning into Stories for Life. Until next time, be the wonder,